And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week. This week, the President of the United States was hit with a double whammy as both his former campaign manager and his former consigliere, personal attorney, and fixer were either found guilty or pled guilty to federal charges. Paul Manafort was found guilty in a Virginia courtroom of 8 out of 18 federal charges, and in New York, Michael Cohen pled guilty to an equal number of charges. Now, this isn't the kind of week anybody wants, but it wasn't nearly as momentous as the president's critics would have you believe. In Paul Manafort's case, all of the charges stemmed from activity that occurred prior to his involvement with President Trump. What's interesting about that case is that a juror is now coming forward to say that the jury was deadlocked, but only by a single vote on the remaining 10 counts, and that if they had gotten that single person to flip, they would have had a unanimous verdict on all 18 charges. That has some implication for the appeals process and whether or not the federal government will retry Mr. Manafort on those charges. But in any event, it looks like he's heading to jail. Michael Cohen certainly is, and he said in his guilty plea colloquy that on election law charges, the President of the United States had made payments to women to buy their silence in an attempt to, quote unquote, influence the election. That gets things a little bit dicey because, as you may recall, John Edwards, the former Democratic candidate for Vice President of the United States, faced similar charges some years ago on facts not exactly the same, but pretty close to it. Now, you might recall that he ultimately was found not guilty on one charge and the others were declared a mistrial. The federal government decided never to recharge him. He simply suffered a lot of political damage because his dalliances and fathering a child out of wedlock occurred while his wife was dying of cancer. So whether or not this is going to have huge implications legally remains to be seen. Politically, you can be the judge yourself. There was a rally in West Virginia the night that these announcements were made, and nary a person there seemed to care much about either Paul Manafort or Michael Cohen. Now, that's Trump's base. How well this plays among the broader electorate, we're going to see in November. But there's a lot of water yet to go under the bridge or over the dam. And ultimately, the Mueller investigation is going to come to a conclusion. And with it, some facts are going to be on the table, and we'll all be in a much better position to make judgments both about the legalities of it all and the political ramifications. But this week, some really good news. The longest running bull market in history occurred right here in the United States of America. Almost 10 years of a bull market running here in the United States this Wednesday. And you know, success has 1,000 fathers, so a lot of people are going to claim credit, including Barack Obama. But if you look at the market itself, and I have consistently said that watching stock prices as an indicator of political success is a bad move. So this is simply fact on objective fact. And that is this: when Donald Trump was elected president of the United States, the market was still not at 18,000, just shy of it. When he was inaugurated, it was roughly 20,000. And this week, it's back almost to 26,000 and approaching the 26,600 level, which was its high watermark. That's good news regardless. It's not the only economic indicator. There are a lot of other pieces of evidence of a really thriving and booming economy, largely based on the economic growth that is resulting from two things: deregulation, which is a tax cut in and of itself, and the federal tax cuts, which are stimulating the economy and causing that rising tide which lifts all boats. The only thing on the horizon that looks like it could tamp it down is a tariff war, and even that looks to be under control because apparently China's coming to the table. So there's a lot of good news this week, and for now, that is the best 60-ish seconds of yours.